then rallied for 2 runs in the bottom of the 9th, posting their first walk-off this season. Time to carry the momentum forward and string some wins together. Dan Herron gets the call as the Nats go on the attack in Game 2.
Washington Nationals baseball. Washington Nationals baseball.
Well, Nats fans will never forget last year in the playoffs, a walk-off, a great walk-off to send the team on in the playoffs. Steve Lombardozzi did the trick last night, his first ever walk-off, as the Nationals came from behind to win it. And Anthony Rendon will be in the starting lineup tonight. He'll be playing second base. Lombardozzi also staying in that Nationals lineup. He'll be in left field. Johnny Holiday along with F.P. Santangelo. Great to have you with us tonight for Game 2 of the National Series against the New York Mets. And right off the top, Steven Strasburg, that lat injury did not respond the way that they wanted it to. He's gone today in the 15-day DL.
Well, it's something you don't want to take a chance with. Obviously, last year with the shutdown in Strasburg, this year Mike Rizzo being very careful with a pitcher that you don't want to send out there, whoever it is, with a straight in their lat. It might lead to other things that could go wrong.
How about last night's 9th inning? Nats are down by a run, a rally, got the bases loaded, and they win it in 9.
Well, we talked about it. I mean, this team hadn't had a walk-off win all season long. A lot of fight in this ball club. It all started with the Ryan Zimmerman leadoff double, hustling into second base, and Adam LaRoche after the Ian Desmond double right here. That's the key hit for me. In the gap, Trent Jewett with a nice hold at third base of Adam LaRoche. And then Steve Lombardozzi refused to be walked yesterday. A 9-pitch at-bat, ending with a sac fly to left field. So a team that scored 2 runs in the 9th inning all season long comes from behind. And when you talk about the day yesterday and all the guys getting released and put on the DL, this must have been a huge stress relief for those guys to bounce around onto the field and hear some music in the clubhouse.
Well, boy, the ball club has had trouble scoring runs after the 7th inning. Only 22 all season long. But as you mentioned, FP, that could be the catalyst to getting this team really going. A win last night over the Mets.
Yeah, I mean, it's a huge confidence builder as Dan Herron takes the mound tonight and tries to keep the line moving.
We're going to come back. We'll have the first pitch as the Nats try to run their winning streak to 2 tonight in Game 2 against the New York Mets here at Nationals Park. PNC Bank for the achiever in you. And by Farmers Insurance. At Farmers, we believe in smarter coverage. Contact your local agent, 888-96-FARMERS. Beautiful, beautiful night for baseball. Boy, the Mets have brought the good weather to Washington. Last night, 31,000 plus on hand to watch that 3-2 walk-off win. We expect to have another great crowd on hand tonight here at the ballpark. Train celebrates its 100th anniversary as we check our train temperature. They offer irresistible financing. It's hard to stop a train, really, really hard. Temperature at 78, humidity 42, the wind's 11 miles an hour to the left center. And the forecast tonight, mostly clear weather here in Washington. And there's the New York Mets Terry Collins starting lineup tonight. Omar Quintanilla will be leading off at shortstop. He'll be the left-handed batter, followed by another lefty, Daniel Murphy, the second baseman. Then David Wright will hit third. Well, he's been struggling of late. Lucas Duda, the left fielder, in the cleanup spot. Marlon Byrd, who pinch hit last night, will be in right. Ike Davis at first. Anthony Recker will catch tonight. John Buck has the night off. Juan Lagares also in the outfield tonight for the New York Mets, and on the mound for New York will be Dylan G. But that's Dan Herron.
Yeah, 12th start of the year for Dan Herron. You see the numbers 4-6, 5.09 ERA. Last time out against the Orioles, he was outstanding. Gave up just 2 runs on 8 hits, over 7 1/3. Struck out 5, walked nobody. Was out-dueled by Freddie Garcia through 105 pitches, 69 of those for strikes. So fastball, cutter, curveball split is what the Mets will see tonight from Dan Herron. Let's check out the Nats defense tonight behind Dan Herron. Steve Lombardozzi, last night's hero, gets the start in left field today, and Anthony Rendon making his major league debut at second base tonight for your Washington Nationals.
And Dan Herron looking for a little bit of run support. This club's only scored 5 runs his last 4 starts, and he's 0-3 in those starts. 4-6 overall. Anthony Rendon, how excited he must be, FP, to be called up again for the second time this year. Guys working behind the plate tonight will be Marty Foster. Tim McClellan down at first. Marvin Hudson will be the umpire at second base. And then Wally Bell, the umpire at third. As Omar Quintanilla steps in. And the first pitch for him taken, called strike 1. And we are underway at 7:07 here at Nationals Park. Bob Carpenter taking some time off and happy to be sitting alongside FP for the next 9 innings here at a great night for baseball in Washington.
Well, you're not Johnny Holiday anymore. You're Johnny Walkoff after last night.
He texts me today and he says, Johnny Walkoff.
You're Johnny Walkoff.
Win. Yeah.
1 game in the booth. First walk-off win of the season for the Nationals.
Right now, Bob is flying back from Oklahoma immediately.
Johnny Walkoff, ladies and gentlemen.
Good to see the club really bursting out of that dugout last night. Leading the charge was Jason Worth to get to Steve Lombardozzi, and Aaron delivers outside. And it's a ball and 2 strikes. Well, the Nats had been 0 for 25 trailing after 8 innings. Last night, first walk-off win of the season.
And Davey Johnson got it with that swing right there.
You notice he is without mustache and without beard. Bouncing ball to second. Rendon fields it perfectly. And there's 1 down.
Well, so far so good. Smiles for Anthony Rendon. Go to second base. Major league debut. Guess what? First ball coming to you, and it couldn't happen any better than that. I'll get that first one out of the way. Not that that's going to be the hard part for him. I think the double play turns and the feeds probably a little more difficult. The coverages on steals when he looks at Ian Desmond, they go close mouth, open mouth, who's covering second base. But so far so good.
Only played 3 games at Syracuse before they called him up. Been playing those 3 games at second base. Aaron delivers to Daniel Murphy. And it's 1 ball and no strikes. Murphy last night 0 for 4. As Jordan Zimmerman pitched a whale of a ball game. And as you heard Davey Johnson say, only too bad the ball club couldn't have got a win for it. He has reason to smile after last night's effort.
It's, minus that Orioles game, it's becoming so commonplace. You just get used to it. Almost taking it for granted what that guy does every 5th day on the mound and how uneventful it usually is.
He's going to give you 7, going to give you 8, maybe give you 9. Ball fouled back, 2 balls and a strike.
And he's becoming like an Adam LaRoche good play at first base every 5th day when he takes the mound.
FP, you get a different feel during batting practice on the field today of the ball club, a little bit more up after last night's win. A win like that does so many things for a club.
Honestly, Johnny, they're up every single day. Whether they've won 5 in a row, lost 5 in a row, they're professional the way they approach their job. So I mean, Davey Johnson has done a nice job of keeping this club even keel through their 500 record early in the season. And remember the days when that was awesome around here, a 500 record?
Try to get to 500, yeah. Well, the Braves winning today. The Nationals begin this game 7.5 back of Atlanta. In the East, they shut out Pittsburgh today 5-0, sweeping that series. And you check the standings in the National League East. There's Atlanta 7.5 up of both Philadelphia and the Nats. No wonder ticket sales are down in Miami, huh? Murphy with a high fly ball. Span comes in, calls off. Lombardozzi has it for out number 2.
Well, check out the game notes right now. Washington Nationals 25-6 with 3 runs or more. 2 or fewer, 4-23. New York Mets 3 runs or less in 11 of their last 17 games. And Ian Desmond home run in back-to-back games. And the big knock last night in the gap in left center field. It's a nice, smooth, easy swing. Rode that thing out to left center, set the stage for Steve Lombardozzi, who refused to be walked in that at-bat.
He worked him hard, didn't he? How many pitches? 9?
9-pitch at-bat. It's the longest at-bat in the big leagues this year for a game-winner walk-off piece. The last one, Jason Worth's Game 4 home run against the Cardinals, a 13-pitch, 9th-inning at-bat to win 2-1 against the Cardinals.
And the count even up to David Wright, hitting .273, 7 home runs. He's driven in 30 for the Mets, and Wright really kind of struggling the last couple of games. 0 for 3 again last night with a strikeout. And the 2-1 from Dan Herron, swing and a miss for strike 2.
Well, it seems to me like David Wright is in pull mode, especially last night. If you watch the front shoulder, when he's good, he's going the other way, but the front side's flying open. Maybe trying to do too much on a struggling offense.
Bouncing ball to Rendon, his second chance of the inning on the first, and it's a 1-2-3. Top of the first for the Mets. We go to the bottom of the first. Span and Worth and Zimmerman to face Dylan G. First, we head to the bottom of frame number 1. We'll take a look at the Mazda starting lineups. We believe if it's not worth driving, it's not worth building. And there's Davey Johnson's lineup card tonight. Denard Span will lead it off. Jason Worth will hit second. Then comes Ryan Zimmerman. Adam LaRoche in the cleanup spot. Ian Desmond, 8-game hitting streak. 333 over the 8 games. 10 for 30 with a .633 slugging percentage and 2 home runs. And at the Desi, Anthony Rendon, the second baseman, getting the start tonight. Steve Lombardozzi shifts to left field. He'll hit 7th. A Kurt Suzuki batting 8th and catching. And on the mound tonight for the New York Mets, Dylan G.
The 12th start of the year for G, coming off a dandy against the Yankees 3-1 Mets victory. Pitched a season high 7 1/3. He allowed just 1 run on 4 hits, struck out a career-high 12 Yankees, and walked nobody through 88 pitches in those 7 1/3, 63 for strikes. So fastball, slider, curveball, change. The Nats will see tonight from Dylan G.
And he and Hefner battling to stay in this rotation, aren't they?
And Zach Wheeler,
yeah.
Big prospect on the horizon. Every time these guys go out, it's high-pressure situation to perform.
Span takes a strike.
But that's called the big leagues.
Yeah. Denard hitting .264. Line drive to right field. Bird going back over his head and off the wall. Span rounding first, heading for second, and he's in there with a stand-up double. That's the way to get this ball game going.
Well, as a defender at the highest level, you have to be ready from the first pitch of the baseball game for the ball to be hit to you. And Marlon Byrd right there was in shock that this ball was hit to him. The jump that he got on the 2-seam fastball to Denard's Span, he stood there for a second, realized the ball was hit to him, and then got turned around on the high riser off the bat of Denard's Span. So a leadoff double for the Nats, and there goes the no-hitter.
And Span at second base after the double. And Jason Worth digging in to face Dylan G. In his 12th start for the Mets, 27 years of age. And last night, Jason playing his first game since coming off the DL with 1 for 4. G beat the Nationals back April 21st at Citi Field. Only gave up 3 hits. Outside for ball.
2-seam fastball, Johnny. He'll move it in, move it around a little bit. Changeup's a good pitch for him, but last time out against the Yankees with the 12 strikeouts, the curveball late to lefties was the out pitch for Dylan G. Anthony Recker is the guy who's caught him the last couple of starts. G's been more aggressive with the fastball, and that's why he's had a little bit more success. A guy that likes his off-speed, throwing more fastballs the last 3 or 4 starts.
And that breaking ball misses outside, so it's 2 balls and no strikes to Worth. Denard Span with a leadoff double down at second base. And we're just getting rolling here in Washington at Nationals Park in the bottom of the first. Span a short leadoff second. And G checks him and delivers that ball in there for a strike.
2-0 slider. And Jason Worth with a nice first night back last night. 1 for 4, but I don't think the box score tells the story. Swung the bat well, had some good at-bats.
And the post-game celebration as soon as Lombardozzi got that sac fly. First guy over the rail heading for Lombardozzi was Jason Worth. There's a high fly to center field. Juan Lagares with a put out. There's 1 down.
Set the defense for the Mets tonight behind Dylan G. Duda, Lagares, Bird in the outfield. Quintanilla right on the left side. Murphy Davis on the right side. And Anthony Recker doing the catching tonight.
And with the 1 away and Span at second, that'll bring up Ryan Zimmerman. He had a 1 for 4 game with a double and scored a run last night. Been pretty hot his last 17 RBIs, last 28 games. At a very hefty .317 batting average. Adam LaRoche waiting on deck. And Span easily back to second. Saw Davey Johnson around the batting cage tonight, FP, and asked him about it. The mustache is gone, a little tiny chin stuff is gone. Yep, he said we won big, it's gone. Well, not exactly big, but we won in dramatic fashion.
Hey, you win by 1 run right now, it's
That's
big.
It's big.
I told him today around the cage you look at least 2 months younger. It's a hero.
I believe that's what Mrs. Johnson said too. She wasn't crazy about that. No balls and a strike to Zimmerman. Mandan scored in position down at second after that leadoff double. Good look at Denard with a nice lead at second. Zimmerman fouls it off down the right side.
And Ryan Zimmerman last night in that ninth inning getting things going for the Nationals with a leadoff hustle double. Got a fastball away, rode it into the gap, and just got into second base. And to me, the interesting thing about this was the call at second and how long it took. It almost looked like, I think it was Marvin Hudson on a rotation, kind of walked around the bag. And usually when they walk around that long, they're just seeing if Omar Quintanilla has the baseball. And you almost thought he was going to call him out because he took so long. And replay showed that he was clearly safe, but, you know, Johnny, when an umpire takes that long,
exactly,
you're thinking, well, just show me the ball, show me the ball, show me the ball, and he's out. But then he went with the safe call, and Terry Collins argued it.
No balls and 2 strikes. Dylan G ahead in the count to Ryan Zimmerman. Tomorrow being draft day, the first draft selection in the history of the Washington Nationals. You're looking at him right there. And the 0-2.
Yeah, they've done okay in that first round department thing in the draft, haven't they?
I would think so.
Yeah, just all right.
Better than all right.
A guy named Strasburg and Harper, Zimmerman.
And in case you're just joining us, tonight Steven Strasburg has been placed on the 15-day DL by the Nats. Joining Danny Espinosa is the latest to go on the disabled list. The 1-2 pitch. It'll pop to second. Go to first base, and there's 2 down. So Zimmerman retired. On Murphy, Ty Davis, and Adam LaRoche will step in. LaRoche had that big base hit in the 9th inning. 1 for 3, the RBI, the walk, run scored.
Last 30 games starting May 2nd, LaRoche 340, 35 for 103, 6 doubles, a triple, 7 home runs, 20 RBI.
Batting average slowly creeping up. Now up to 245. He's driven in 28 runs. And G with a check of Span at third. It's 1 ball, no strikes. Dylan G, even though he's 3-6, he's 2-0 at Nationals Park. Earned run average up to 5.68 though. And that went over the Yankees, where he retired the last 15 batters he faced, his first in 5 starts.
Doesn't look a whole lot interested in facing Adam LaRoche here. Lefties this year off G, hitting 320. First base open, 2 outs. He might be thinking about Ian Desmond, but righties hitting 298.
Well, you better think twice about Desmond. Homered the last 2 games. Well, the count 2 balls, no strikes to the Nationals first baseman. And he misses outside. And it's 3 balls and no strikes.
Of all the Nationals hitters, Adam LaRoche likes to swing 3-0 more than anybody.
Boy, FP, is there nobody in baseball as relaxed as he is, not only in the box, but at first base?
I don't think so.
No. And he walks LaRoche on 4 pitches.
How about the night of Ian Desmond last night? Got a fastball up and away, rode it out to left field, low line drive. And if you want to talk about the biggest hit of the night, other than Ryan Zimmerman's leadoff double, it's that one right there. Got into a count. Took a few pitches, didn't try to do too much. Bullet in the gap. Jason Worth approves. Ian Desmond fired up, and it was nice to see that spirit last night from the Nationals late in the game. Something we got used to all last year.
No, we sure did, didn't we? Desmond wound up last night 2 for 4 with a double and that home run. And scored a run. He's got runners in the corners now. LaRoche at first and Span down at third with 2 out. He'll take a strike. He had also riding an 8-game hitting streak. And his 17 doubles among the leaders in the National League. And the 0-1. Popped out behind the Nationals dugout into the crowd. And the count 0 ball, no balls and 2 strikes. Desmond, career-wise against G, 4 for 17. I think he's got some pretty good numbers against everybody except Worth, who's 6 for 18. That pitch inside. 1 ball, 2 strikes, 2 outs.
A little backup slider here at 84. LaRoche 2 stolen bases this year. He's a guy, if you don't pay attention to him at first, he'll ambush you. Dylan G, very deliberate to the plate. It's a good count to run if no one's paying attention to LaRoche.
And the 1-2 pitch. Line drive to left field. Nats lead it 1-0. And Desmond RBI number 24.
2-out knocks are like gold, and LaRoche was going on the pitch. He got such a good jump that he had to stop and let Ian Desmond hit, but Ian Desmond stay hot. The hitting streak continues, and he got a slider out over the plate. You see the bat flip. Watch LaRoche. He was going, but he got too good of a jump. Had to stop. The big 2-out knock in the lead here early for the Nats.
And Ian Desmond gets the RBI, and it's 1-0 Nationals.
25-6 when they score first this year. That's second in NL behind the Braves, who are 24-3.
That's a good omen. And the pitch to Rendon, making his first appearance tonight for the Nationals. Anthony recalled from AAA yesterday. At 307. Yeah, AA and AAA. And 6 for 25 in his time filling in for Zimmerman when he went in the DL. Played 8 games, scored a couple of runs, had a double, 5 walks, 7 strikeouts.
Patient hitter. And in case you haven't seen him play, his power is to right center field, gap to gap guy. Likes to go the other way hard.
LaRoche at second, Desmond at first. The pitch inside and tight to Rendon. The count goes to 3 balls and no strikes.
I like it. Rendon looking down at Trent Jewett for a green light.
And Steve Lombardozzi hoping that Rendon will get on ahead of him so he can get a shot. And the 3-0. Wide drive to center. Lagares drifting back. He's got it. And the Nats are retired. But not before. Desmond drives in Span, and the Nationals take a 1-0 lead. Mets nothing. Let's take a look at our FCA sideline report. FCA, the Association for Global Security Professionals. Down to Julie Alexandria. We know the second baseman for the Nats very happy to be back in this lineup tonight.
That's right, Johnny. He is extremely excited. I caught up with Anthony Rendon earlier today, and he said that his experience playing with the club at third last month, filling in for Ryan Zimmerman, well, that definitely helped calm his nerves a little bit. He said, if I hadn't had that experience, I might be a little up, a little jumpy. But being able to experience that, he said, I should be okay going into today. He also added he had played second only 3 times at AAA Syracuse, and so he just hearkened back to some advice that an old coach said to him, and he said he's going to rely on his instincts, take it one day at a time, and just enjoy every moment. His family is here. They're watching his first start. Everyone's excited to be here for him.
Thank you, Julie. Hit 319. 11 doubles. That's in the corner for extra bases for Lucas Duda. He'll round first and head for second, and stand-up double for Lucas Duda. Well, the Mets had more success last night doing that same thing, FP, going right down that line to the corner.
The 11th double of the season for Duda. And Jason Worth has to negotiate that tricky part of right field, right where the ball girl sits down there, and it jets out. The ball hits that. You got to hit the brakes and go after it. And watch Worth right here. He realizes it's going to go down the corner, a little stutter step. Digs it out, hustling. Good hard throw, keeping Duda to just a double. Nice play.
So Duda in scoring position for the Mets with a chance to tie it up, and Marlon Byrd, who pinch hit last night, gets the call in right field tonight. And Aaron delivers and misses outside for ball 1. Byrd, a .248 hitter, 6 home runs, 25 RBIs. Struck out in that pinch hitting appearance last night. Hitting only .195 over his last 15 games. Slow roller down the first base line, and it's foul. Runners in scoring position for Marlon Byrd, hitting .333, 12 for 36. He's got one at second base now. And Lucas Duda. Ike Davis on deck. And then the Mets catcher Anthony Recker will follow. Nobody out in the top of the second. And it's a 2-1 ball game. Marlon Byrd with his 7th home run of the season. Well, you got all of that, FP.
Well, Dan Heron's been the victim of a long ball all season long, and it looked like Marlon Byrd right there just trying to move the runner. Not a whole lot to that swing. Got his foot down early, threw the barrel to the baseball. 7th home run of the year for Byrd. That's a simple swing. Not a whole lot to it. Just trying to get his hands inside the ball. Advance the leadoff double to third, and he gets the bonus plan with a 2-run homer to put the Mets up.
Into the seats. Below the red loft and red porch.
Ball's carrying. I didn't think he got him.
I didn't either. Mike Davis facing down here for the first time. Davis last night went 0 for 4 with a strikeout. Last 8 games hitting only .250 with a home run and 7 RBIs. Mets have taken a 2-1 lead, and Marlon Byrd's 8th home run fouled at the plate. And it counts 1 ball and 2 strikes to Ike Davis. Hitting .164. Back Davis and Recker and Lagares. Batting average is .164, .160, and .146. The Mets have 2 hits in the inning, nobody out. The home run of the double.
It doesn't happen too often when you're filling out your scorecard before the game that you see a .164, a .160, a .146, and then Dylan G with an .067.
Line drive to right field for a base hit. And Davis is on. So Dan Heron having trouble getting it out here in the second inning. 3 consecutive base hits for the Mets. Second inning is presented by Luna. Call today for the Luna Double and get your second room of flooring free. 877-241-LUNA. That's the number. Well, Duda with a double, Bird with a home run, Davis with a single. 3 up and 3 on. Not the way Dan Herron wanted to start this ball game, FP.
Well, you get stick to that lead, you want to make it stick, and right now the Mets are swinging the bat, hitting the ball hard.
And that pitch outside for a ball. 2 balls and no strikes. Aaron's given up 12 home runs now. 13 make it. And Anthony Recker has a count of 2 balls and 1 strike. And the 2-1. Bouncing ball to Rendon at second. His only play is to first. Underhands to LaRoche, and there's 1 down. Our Hollywood Casino league leaders, Hollywood Casino at Charlestown. Slots and tables and dining. The ultimate triple play at Hollywood Casino at Charlestown Races. Best starters earned run average this season. The Cardinals at 2.64. And Steve McCatty's staff 3.32. Last season, the Nationals second in Major League Baseball with a 3.40 earned run average. Well, Davis advances down to second of the ground out. That'll bring up young Juan Legatus, the center fielder, with a homer and 2 RBIs. One ball and 1 strike. Got his first major league home run May 20th at Chicago. Made his debut April 23rd against the Dodgers.
And apparently the bat boy is taking this at bat off because Lagares is having trouble getting a new bat. Is that Valdespin that gave him a bat?
I think it was.
Terry Collins wondering, where's the bat boy?
We're looking for him now.
Anybody seen him? Need a bat boy here.
So it's a 1-1 count to Lagares. Bounce it off down the right side, out of play. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Lagares had 346 in AAA, 17 games.
There he is. Small helmet.
And his eyes darting back and forth.
It's a great kazoo right
Watch
there.
the eyes. Oops. Yeah. Keeps glancing off to his right, doesn't he? 1 ball and 2 strikes to Lagares. 7 hits. Let's make that 2 balls and 2 strikes. 7 hits for Juan so far. And of those 7 hits, 2 are doubles. And the 2-2 with the 1 down. And Aaron misses inside. Dan has thrown 34 pitches, 20 strikes, and 14 balls, and we're in the top of the second inning with 1 out. And New York has 2 runs in on the Marlon Byrd home run. And Lagares fouls it off and stays alive. And Dylan G in the on-deck circle. After a 1-2-3 first, this has been a very rough second inning. And another foul out of play.
You figure all those cutters on the outer half to Lagares at the inner half right now might be open on a 3-2 pitch. He's diving out there hard to cover the cutter away. Dan Herring and Kurt Suzuki want to. They could go inside, but he still hasn't handled that pitch outside.
And the 3-2. Swing and a miss. Got him. First strikeout for Dan Herring. And a big one.
Mercedes-Benz on the pitch track. And you see the sequence, everything away, and that one actually backed up in Dan Herring's favor. Lagares diving out there to protect the outer half. The backup slider works in Herring's favor right there in the 3-2 pitch.
So with 2 down, the Mets right-hander Dylan Gee will face Dan Herring. Mike Davis at second. Check swing in there for call, strike 1. Dylan Gee batting .067. 1 hit, 15 at-bats. Takes a call strike and ahead in the count quickly, 0-2. And it's a 1-2 count to Dylan Gee. Seven times he has faced the Nationals, started against the Nationals, a 4-1 record. With a 2.93, 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 out, and 2 runs in. And the Mets up 2-1 in the second inning. And the count full at 3 balls and 2 strikes. .91 on the radar gun with missing low. Fly ball to Lombardozzi, has to make a tremendous catch. That ball took off on him. Lombardozzi with his speed got to it, and finally Herring's out of it with a 2-1 Met lead.
Ball's carrying here tonight.
Later in the game, brought to you by Miller Lite. Well, we go to the bottom of the second. Remember Steve Lombardozzi, what he did last night?
Yeah, do the Lumbo right here. 9-pitch at bat. Every one of them up in his eyes. That was the 9th one. Baxter playing shallow, had to go back for it. Adam LaRoche tags up. And everybody gets to go crazy for the first time this year, including that guy. One of the best at-bats you'll see to end the game. He refused to be walked. I think he might have got 1 strike in that 9-pitch sequence.
That was about it.
He was going to win the game.
AT&T fact of the game, the Nationals have 23 walk-off wins. since 2011. That's fourth best in the major leagues. First one came last night.
Only 10 last year.
Well, Lombardozzi will lead off. Then Suzuki, then Dan Herron. Steve, a .234 hitter. And Dylan G with an early lead. First pitch. Bouncing ball to second. Murphy, a great play. Spins and got Lombardozzi down the line. STG inside the numbers tonight. Dylan G against the Nationals, 1-0 FP, but the rest of the East, not that good.
Well, that's a 4-game sample size versus a 1-game sample size, so see how that plays out here tonight against the Nats.
Nats hitting 158 against him. And with one away, Dylan G will face Kurt Suzuki for the first time. And Suzuki takes first pitch from G as a ball. Last 5 games, Kurt won for his last 18. Looking to break out of it tonight. Takes a call strike.
Kurt Suzuki talking before the game today about how much fun he and Jordan Zimmerman have every 5th day when Jordan starts. How they're loose together out there joking around in the middle of the game. It's a lot like Miguel Cabrera with the Tigers. You're getting 3 hits a day. The game is fun. If you're Jordan Zimmerman dominating teams every 5th day, the game is fun. Not fun going home 0 for 4 every night, trust me.
No, it sure isn't. Spoken from a man who knows.
A few times. I mean, these guys every 5th day have a great time on the mound. Whenever you see the gloves over their face, they're not talking strategy. They're trying to not show people at home that they're cracking up in the middle of a game.
But they're having fun.
They are. It's
really enjoying it.
That's what this game's all about.
I would imagine Jordan's probably saying, this game will be over in 2 hours and 2 minutes. With me pitching and you catching.
Played with a pitcher in A-ball named Dan Freed. He works for the Dodgers, I think, right now. And before every start, he used to give us an estimated time of his game. And he worked so fast that a lot of times he would worry about how fast the game went and not how he did. So he'd say, what do you got tonight for us, Dan? I got 2:07. And that's all he cared about. And he was good.
Suzuki with a high fly ball. Murphy says for Lagares, you take it. And there's 2 down. Don't forget the Natitude Flex Packs are available on sale right now. You pick 4 games and get that 5th game free. Go to nationals.com/flex. So Dylan G retiring Lombardozzi and Suzuki here in the second. That'll bring up Dan Herron. In the Nats pitcher, a 150 hitter. He's 3 for 20. Has driven in 1 run. A little shot in the gap to left field. Nobody's going to get that, but it's off the wall. Over the head of Lagares, and Herron into second base with a stand-up double.
I'm telling you, the ball is flying in this park tonight. It's usually reserved for nights when it's 90+. But we've seen a ball over Marlon Byrd's head. We've seen a ball almost over Lombardozzi's head. We've seen a Marlon Byrd home run, and now a Dan Herron double in the gap, just reaching out and touching that. A lot like Marlon Byrd's home run. Same spot of the ballpark. Ball flying toward #Natitude tonight. And Dan Herron getting it around first base for a 2-out double.
I'm sure Lagares says, no way is this guy going to hit the ball over my head. But he just did. So the Nats with a tying run at second base, and back to the top of the lineup we go with Denard Span, who doubled to lead off this game for Washington. And pops one into left field. That's going to drop for a base hit, and Trent Jewett holding up Herron at third base. So back-to-back hits. Herron with a double, Span with a single. That's got a little something going with the top of the order.
Well, 2-out rally in progress right now. Line moves to Jason Worth. Trent Jewett had to stop Dan Herron at third base, but you look at Denard Span, no stride. in the cage doing some serious early work today. It's paid off. 2 for 2, a double and a single for Span on base twice, and doing everything he could right there to hold a speedy Dan Herron.
And boy, good bat control by Span, going the other way with a pitch. So Denard is 2 for 2 tonight. 4th base hit off the right-hander Dylan G. And Jason Worth looking to drive in a run. With Herron down at third, that would tie it up. That's with 3 hits in the first couple of innings. Nats have 4. With a New York 2-1 lead. And Worth looks at a call strike. FP, what's G's best pitch?
Probably change it, but last time out against the Yankees, against lefties, it was the curveball with 2 strikes.
I think that series against the Yankees probably surprised everybody to sweep the Yankees. And then go to Miami, and there goes Span, and the ball popped down the right side, hustling for it, trying to make a nice diving grab. Bird can't hold on to the ball in foul territory. Ran a country mile for that one.
Well, that ball had some inside-out rotation on it. It was spinning away from Marlon Bird the whole time. Jason Worth and the Nats with new life right here. Nice effort by Bird, though. Like you said, Johnny, good point. He went a long way for this baseball. Tried to do the sliding catch at the end and just couldn't come up with it. Good effort, not to be.
Yep. Slapped that glove in frustration. Anthony Reckers went out to the mound, and a little conversation with G. And the Nats fans, another great crowd in hand tonight, making some noise here in the bottom of the second, reminiscent of what we heard last night in the bottom of the ninth. Four balls and 2 strikes to Jason Worth.
Great crowd last night, great crowd here again tonight. Tuesday, Wednesday against the New York Mets. This place has been rocking.
Yep. 1 more to go tomorrow night. Then the Twins in for a weekend series. The 0-2 to Worth. Picks a ball high.
With that new rule in baseball to where you can't go third to first move, it's such an advantage for a base stealer like Denard Span right now. You don't have to guard against the fake to third, come to first move. It's illegal. So now first and third, to me, it's like off to the races if you're a base stealer this season.
Well, let's see what Span does now at first base. Herron with a short lead off third. Check swing. Did he go? Yes. The first base umpire says he went through with it. And Worth retired. And G out of trouble.
Lead the Nationals 2-1 in the top of the third. Well, as you guys already heard, Steven Strasburg has been added to the disabled list today. It seems like another day, another addition. So he was added. The next day that he will be eligible to play won't be until June 16th. So he obviously will not be making his start on Saturday as previously expected. And neither will Ross Detweiler. He won't be available either. He actually threw an extended bullpen session earlier today. The plan for him is to make a rehab start either with Potomac or Harrisburg. But Steven Strasburg, as far as he's concerned, Davey Johnson has said, even though it's a grade 1 lat strain, he's still worried about his arm. And I talked to Steve McCaddy and I said, what's the correlation there? And he said, anytime a player is hurt, they try to overcompensate. They try to get away from the pain. They try to avoid where the pain originates, hence compromising the integrity of their motion and their movement. He said he doesn't want him to get off kilter and he doesn't want to start seeing him throwing funny because he's trying to compensate for the pain in his lateral muscle.
Okay, Julie, thank you very, very much. So Strasburg on the DL. Detweiler will not make his next start. Ever have a grade 1 lat strain, FP?
Every day when I get out of bed, Johnny.
But you shake it off, don't you?
Yeah, yeah.
Dan Herron, 43 pitches, 26 strikes, 3 of 9 batters. That first pitch had been strikes.
Actually did in Los Angeles. Shot it up with cortisone. Didn't go anywhere.
Keep on playing?
Well, I'm not a pitcher, so yeah, I did. I'm a pitcher that had Tommy John surgery and is as good as Steven Strasburg, so you can't take any chances with any kind of injury with a pitcher because it can always go back to the arm, whether it's a lower half injury, upper half injury. You start compensating, overcompensating.
And looking at Strasburg's demeanor in that sitting in the dugout tonight, outside the dugout, in one of the benches, seems a little bit looser. There's a shot to right. Worth is going back. Quintanilla will fly out to Jason to start the 3rd inning.
And Steven Strasburg's last start Friday in Atlanta. Watch after the pitch. I think we've all seen this before, kind of trying to get loose, shrugging his shoulders a little bit, feeling something back there. And next pitch, same result. Curveball down the way and a little grimace right there, talking to the training staff. Lee Kuntz, Davey Johnson, Steve McCaddy, shut him down.
And today goes into 15-day DL. Daniel Murphy will face Dan Herron here in the 3rd inning for the Mets with a 2-1 lead. Getting those 2 runs in the top of the 2nd. David Wright on deck. And then Lucas Duda if needed. And the count 2 balls and a strike to Daniel Murphy. Here's the MASH unit.
The Washington Nationals right there.
Harper, Detweiler, Espinoza, Strasburg, Ramos, Matthews. Swing and a miss. And the count's 2-2.
Probably the best cutter of the night right there from Dan Herron. Nissan on the pitch track. Cutter down and in. Watch this under the hands of Daniel Murphy. Late, sharp. That opens up the split.
And Herron delivers inside. So the count is full now to Daniel Murphy. He flied to Span in his first at-bat in the 1st. Daniel hitting .330 on the road, and he's got a base hit. And that for the Mets is hit number 4. And both ball clubs now with 4 hits. Our moment in history brought to you by Volkswagen. David Wright became the Mets all-time leader with 736 runs in a 7-6 loss at Nationals Park. On this day, David Wright drafted back in 2001. This moment in history brought to you by Volkswagen. Volkswagen's Springtoberfest event going on now. Visit VWDealer.com today for that Springtoberfest event.
What it doesn't say is he passed Ray Knight with 735.
Wright with a shot to left, and that ball is gone. David Wright with a 2-run. Well, it didn't go over the fence. I thought it was gone.
Wally Bell is running out, and he's giving the home run sign. There he is.
Wright stopping at second. And it is a home run for David Wright. Bounced back into play. And the Mets have now hit their second home run tonight off Herron. That accounts for all 4 runs.
Let's see where this one lands. The 14th home run that Dan Herron's given up this season.
And it
looks like it got out. Got it right.
Got out and then bounced back in. Home run number 8, RBI number 31 and 32. And the Mets lead 4-1. Lucas Duda with a double his first time up in the second. Well, Herron struggling here early has allowed the Mets 4 runs and 5 hits and 2 home runs. And Duda fouls it out of play down the left side. Well, last Thursday at Baltimore, even though Dan suffered that 2-0 loss, he went 7 1/3. Didn't walk anybody, struck out 5, and gave up the 8 hits.
He kept the ball down the whole game against the Orioles. You remember that big night the night before, 4 home runs, came out the next day, kept the ball down the strike zone. Split was good. The cutter into lefties was good. Tonight, ball up.
Yep. And the result, home runs. Span's got a long way to get this one. Camps under it. And there's 2 away. And Lucas is retired. Johnny Holiday in for Bob Carpenter along with F.P. Santangelo. And we're in the bottom of the 3rd at Nationals Park with a 4-1 Mets lead over the Nationals. Marlon Byrd a homer in the 2nd. David Wright a home run here in the 3rd. And the Mets trying to snap their 4-game losing streak. And the Nationals trying to add on to what they did last night. Got some work to do offensively. Marlon Byrd with a home run his last time up. And the 2 RBIs. He'll take outside, 1 ball and a strike. Byrd came in hitting .248. Now he has 7 home runs. And the 25 driven in. Here's the 1-1. Another shot to a long drive to left field. Lombardozzi looking up, and that one's gone. Oh, my goodness. Second home run of the night for Marlon Byrd. And the Mets right fielder gives New York a 5-1 lead.
Hey, just look at the location of these pitches. And there was no doubt about this one off the bat of Marlon Byrd. His 8th home run of the year up in the zone. Bell tie, a lot like the pitch to David Wright. Verizon Fios Exmo showing that pitch bell tie, and Marlon Byrd getting all of that one to left field here.
You want to switch to 100% fiber optic Verizon Fios and supercharge your internet speeds. A little bit of movement out there in the Nationals bullpen much earlier than Davey Johnson wanted.
It's the 15th home run given up by Dan Herron. That's the most in the National League.
3 home runs in the game. And Herron finally gets out of it. Mike Davis retired. We go to the bottom of the 3rd. Trail at 5-1 here in the bottom of the third. Freight Rail works due-up for the Nationals. Zimmerman with a .279 average against right-handers, 6 home runs. Adam LaRoche hitting .254 with 7 round trippers against right-handers. And Ian Desmond at .284, 6 home runs against right-handers such as Dylan G, who has a 4-run cushion to work with now.
Well, on a night like tonight, when the ball's flying out of this ballpark, there's certain nights when you got to slug it out. And this is one of those nights. I mean, ball flying, you're facing a guy with a 5.6 ERA. Go get him.
Got to get it done.
You want to slug? Let's slug.
Yeah. So far, the Mets winning the slug fest. 3 home runs. When's the last time Dan Herron gave up 3 home runs in a game? (5-6-0) for the Mets, 1-4-0 for the Nationals. As Ryan Zimmerman leads off this third inning. Good advancing ball to Murphy at second, his first time up. 1 for 4 last night with a double. Bouncing ball to first. Ike Davis has got it, tosses on the G, and Zimmerman retired. 1 up and 1 down to begin the third inning. STG inside the numbers, the worst run support, the lowest in the National League. Dylan G with only 2.84 runs support given him by his teammates. Ricky Velasco 2.30, Loesch Burnett, Clayton Kershaw 2.68, and G at 2.54. No Dan Herron, the last.
That's beautiful.
Starts beautiful is right. How about that one? LaRoche can walk down to first base.
I mean, who is this guy? He tried to steal a base his first time up. Now he lays down a base hit bunt his second time up. I don't even know who you are anymore. Check out this perfect base hit bunt by Adam LaRoche. And with the shift, I mean, that's a free hit. Just bunt it there every single time. You're down by 4 runs. You need base runners. That's smart baseball, folks, by Adam LaRoche.
And look at David Wright just jogging to the ball. Probably saying, you got to be kidding me.
Perfect form out in front. I mean, it's a lot of pressure with no third baseman there to get that ball down. That's not as easy as he just made it look.
Dan Herron gave up 4 home runs his first game of the season, making his Nationals debut against Cincinnati. That ball gets away from Anthony Recker, but he runs it down. And LaRoche stays at first base.
Just a yank fastball right here from Dylan G. Not even close. Adam LaRoche not seeing it well, and down by 4, you better be sure. Need base runners.
First couple of innings, the Nationals will have 4 runners on base. One ball to no strikes. The Ian Desmond has a hitting streak continue tonight. With an RBI base hit in the first inning, driving in the Nationals' only run, fouls it down the third base line into the camera well.
There's certain nights as a major league club when the conditions are right against certain ball clubs and certain pitchers that you have to pick up your starting pitcher as an offensive ball club. I mean, they can't be perfect every single game. There's going to be days when they go out there and give it up. And as an offense, it's your responsibility on those nights to get your team back in the game and figure things out. And that's what the Nats are trying to do here in the third inning.
And that's been one of the problems. That's why the ball club is 29-29. They haven't been able to do that on a consistent basis. And puts a tremendous amount of pressure on the pitching staff. 2 balls and a strike, 1 away here in the third inning. Nationals down 5-1. Anthony Rendon on deck. Gets the start at second base tonight. And the 2-1 to Desi. Foul down the right field line on a play. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Desmond riding a 9-game hitting streak. Two count, hitting .314. He's got a 2-2 count right now. Swing and fouls it back. Ray Knight was telling me when he was filling in for you in Atlanta when you took off last week, he got in the elevator in Atlanta and somebody said to him, FP, I really enjoy your commentary. And it was the Silver Fox.
Well, I don't have that much gray hair, do I?
I'm not going to answer that.
He's sitting right next to us right now. We're just having some fun with Ray Knight.
That happened to me one night. I'm in the elevator, and I think Ray was with me. The guy gets in, he said, I tell you, Mr. Carpenter, I really enjoy your work. Seriously. I said, well, thank you very much. Would you mind signing this? No problem. So I signed a baseball. All the best, Bob.
I have to confess, I've done that a time or two.
What'd you sign, Mickey Mantle's
No,
name?
Bob Carpenter.
Count is full to Desmond. 3 balls, 2 strikes. LaRoche on with a bunt single at first. And the Nats have their 5th hit of the night. And the 3-2 delivery. Breaking ball, called strike 3.
That looked like a slider to me that didn't slide a whole lot for Dylan G. And check out the buckshot on the pitch track, the Nissan pitch track. Desmond didn't like the call.
Only the 2nd strikeout tonight for the Mets right-hander. He's walked 1, given up 5 hits and the 1 run. And with 2 away, Anthony Rendon will flow out his first time at bat. Hit .319, 11 doubles, 6 home runs, and 33 games at Double-A Harrisburg. Only played 3 games. As you heard Julie Alexandria talking about him the last time he went to Julie, only played 3 games in Syracuse, all at second base, preparing him for this night when he was going to come up and get inserted in the lineup. You know, you put him and Gio Gonzalez together, you got 2 very personable, happy up guys.
Lots of teeth.
Lots of smiles.
Yeah.
You're right. Loves being up here with a big club. Rendon has the count of 1 ball and a strike. And the 1-1 foul back out of play. Anthony from Richmond, Texas. Went to Rice University. On that academic honor roll list. Something FP and I never made.
Speak for yourself.
I'm assuming you never made.
Sat next to the smart person in class.
Me too. Played at Potomac back last year. Also split some time at Auburn and Harrisburg. His 2nd full year in the Nats organization. And he stays alive, fouls it out of play. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs.
He gets that stride down so nice and early, talking about Anthony Rendon, to where his head's not moving a whole lot. Very smooth with that foot down early. Slow lower half, very violent upper half. That's exactly what you want as a hitter.
Sure to have a day in your honor in Sacramento? He did. In Houston, Anthony Rendon Day, June 29th of 2010. Swinging a high fly down the right field line. Marlon Byrd gets it, and the side is retired. We go to the top of the 4th at Nationals Park. 5-1 Mets. Press now with 16 daily departures between D.C. and New York. Book now at Amtrak.com. Marlon Byrd for the Mets has hit 2 home runs tonight. He's driven in 3 runs. Ian Desmond for the Nationals. Long ball's been the story.
Marlon Byrd, 2 home runs tonight. First one left center field. About 3 rows back over the #Natitude sign. And this one a bolt. On a belt high pitch to left field. So Marlon Byrd, the story of this game, 2 for 2, 2 home runs.
Yeah, Dan Herron gets set to go to work. He will face Anthony Recker, the Mets catcher. And Ian Crowell, just called up yesterday, starts to loosen up in the Nationals bullpen. Dan Herron 65 pitches now. 39 strikes. And we're at the top of the 4th inning. Dylan G with 54 pitches and 34 of his were strikes. Five, 6-0 for New York and 1-5-0 for the Nats. Aaron works. Ball off the glove of Suzuki back to the backstop.
The last 4 starts 0-3 with a nice, well, no run support, 1.78. Previously 3-0 and tons of run support. 6 runs a game. Take 6 runs tonight and a win.
STG inside the numbers. Aaron trying to find it, get a little bit consistent tonight. You can see the look in his face. It's been a long 3 innings so far for Dan. After his 5th win of the year. Bouncing ball to Zimmerman at third. The toss on the first, and Recker retired. Nice play by Zimmerman. Want to bring your group out to a Nationals Park ball game? Group tickets are great for all types of events, such as company outings and birthday parties and family reunions, and much, much more. The bigger the group, really the bigger the savings. For information about group opportunities, simply go to nationals.com/groups. Got some groups here tonight, lots of them around the park. Aaron Lagares lays down a bunt. Suzuki on it, fires to first, and safe at first base. Juan Lagares beats it out. That'll be base hit number 7 for the Mets.
Kurt Suzuki all over that, but Lagares killed this ball right in the perfect spot. Little backspin right there. He was the only guy, Suzuki. If Herron fields that going the other way, no chance. Suzuki, probably with the best arm of everybody involved right there, bounces out. Lagares smelling the hit, beats it out.
And that'll bring up Dylan G for the 2nd time. He flat out to Lombardozzi in left field his first time up. Rose had a motion to go to second. Didn't think he could make the play and goes on to first. To Anthony Rendon, that's a sacrifice. And there's 2 away. And with a sacrifice, Lagares gets to second. And Omar Quintanilla is 0 for 2. Quintanilla, since he's been called up from Las Vegas, 9 for 19. And the pitch in there for a strike. Mets 22-33, 10-16 on the road. And a check swing and takes it for a ball. And with the Braves shutting out the Pirates today 5-0, the Nationals begin the night 7.5 games back in the NL East. Aaron mostly fastballs tonight, 78% of what he's thrown.
That includes the cut fastball from Dan Herron, which, in my opinion, everything works off of that for him, especially the left-handed hitters. He makes you aware of that late cut in. And it's down and in. We saw one good one to Daniel Murphy under his hands. It opens that split up. As a hitter, you start to look for it in there. Cheat to get to it. And those are the nights that Dan Herron deals.
That ball fouled out of play. Zimmerman over to the railing and does not have a play. Well, as Dan has gotten older, he's relying on different pitches than what he did when he first came up with that fastball.
Well, that's the evolution of a pitcher at this level. This is a guy who used to throw 95, 96. He doesn't anymore, and he relies on command, location, and keeping the ball down the zone.
Just doesn't walk anybody, has walked nobody tonight. And a swing and a miss, and that takes care of the Mets here in the top of the fourth. We go to the bottom of the fourth. The Nationals need some runs to get Dan Herron off the hook. Got my money on Teddy to win this thing. There he is, coming out of the chute, huh?
Well, if you're squeamish, you do not want to watch the end of this race because Teddy gets killed.
No, he's
no, watch. I'm
he's
serious.
Be okay.
Oh, I mean, that's a concussion.
Well, he could have avoided that.
Yeah. Watch this hit.
Yeah, that's a good.
It's about the head hitting the ground, and I'm concerned about the concussion factor with that huge cranium right there.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's not good.
Yeah. Well, maybe tomorrow night.
I think it'll be all right.
Yeah. Bottom of the fourth for Washington. Down 5-1. Lombardozzi, Suzuki, and possibly a pinch hitter for Dan Herron would work out in the Nationals bullpen. Lombardozzi, a high fly to right field. Marlon Byrd drifting back, and there's one down. Lombardozzi retired. And a fly ball to Byrd. Greg Stammen out in the Nationals bullpen, getting loose. And Roger Bernardina will hit for Dan Herron. Stammen last pitch Friday against the Braves in Atlanta. And had a terrific outing. Retired all 12 batters he faced. Kurt Suzuki for the second time facing Dylan G. He flied to Lagares in center his first time up. Breaking ball misses outside. 2 balls and no strikes to the Nats catcher. And the 2-0. Bouncing ball is short. Right past the diving Quintanilla, and it's a base hit. So Suzuki going 1 for 2 tonight.
A couple good at-bats last night for Kurt Suzuki. Nothing to show. Had a hard line out to right, a hard line out to left. This ground ball finds a hole up the middle and a 2-0 count. Nice piece of hitting right there by Kurt Suzuki.
Omar Quintanilla couldn't quite get to it. No, Suzuki is on. And Roger Bernardino pitch hitting now for Dan Herron. So Herron's night is over as he works the 4 innings. Gives up 5 runs and 7 hits and 3 home runs. Bernardino hitting 156 on the year. Line drive to right. That's a fair ball. Bernardino heading for second. And holding up at third base is Suzuki. A rope down the right field line. And that's good to see for Roger Bernardino.
Yeah, Sharks heating up, fans digging it. Bottom of the order tonight. The 9 spot specifically, a couple of doubles. Dan Herron first time up now. Roger Bernardino pinch hitting for Herron. Smokes one down the right field corner. Second and third one out. You see the swing, head down, extension out front. Marlon Bird scrabbling down there in the corner, doing a nice job of digging it out, holding Kurt Suzuki at third base. Dylan G up in the strike zone all of a sudden. Nats trying to take advantage. Bryce Harper approves. Adam LaRoche approves.
And you and I approve.
Sure.
Now the Nats with runners at second and third and a chance to push across a couple with only 1 away. Line drive to right. That's a foul ball.
Nice play.
You're not kidding. Nice go. Ball girl. Span just a little ahead of the pitch. No balls and a strike. Denard tonight, he's 2 for 2. Doubled in the first inning. Came right back with a base hit in the second. And G with a check of the runners. Swung and foul back. No balls, 2 strikes. Roger Bernardino, that pinch hit appearance, had been only 2 for 11 against Dylan G. Denard scored the Nationals' first run tonight. Desmond brought him home. Suzuki at third. Bernardino at second. And the 0-2. Swing and a miss. And Span retired. That is Dylan G's 3rd strikeout.
Mercedes-Benz on the pitch track right here. That's with the infield back. Denard Span simply just trying to put it in play for a run. And Dylan G goes with an 86-mile-an-hour slider, it looked like right there. For strike 3.
Well, Jason Worth looking for his first RBI since being recalled off the DL last night when he went 1 for 4 against the Mets. He's 0 for 2 in this game. With a fly out to center and a strikeout. He'll take a called strike. Dylan G tonight, 64 pitches, 42 for strikes. Game 2 ball clubs meet again tomorrow night here in game 3 of the series. And the 0-1, that's foul back on the play. And ahead of the count goes Dylan G. No balls and 2 strikes to Jason Worth, whose presence on the ball club you could feel last night. Not only in the outfield, in the clubhouse, leadership, and he was happy to get back. That's a breaking ball for Paul, strike 3. Strikeout number 4 for Dylan G. Gets out of trouble. Nats had a shot as we head now to the top of the 5th. The Mets lead as we head to the top of the 5th inning here in Washington at Nationals Park, and a beautiful night except for the score. Our call to the bullpen is packaged by the UPS store. We love logistics. Craig Stammen comes in out of the bullpen for the Nationals. Record of 3-1 with a 2.60 in his 15th appearance of the year.
You see the record 3-1, 2.60. Opponent's average 257. Righty's hitting only 224 against the two-seam fastball slider curve change combination from Craig Stammen.
Had a terrific outing against the Braves on Friday night. Really found himself a home in the bullpen as the long reliever. He'll face Murphy first.
So it was like being late for a tee time, scrambling the first tee box, tying your shoes, going out there, just gripping it and ripping it. Didn't have a whole lot of time to get ready with the injury to Strasburg. Just went out there, didn't think about a whole lot.
Yep.
And picked up his ball club big time.
All he did was set down all 12 batters he faced. Came up in the starting rotation a couple of years ago, back in 09. When he went 4-7, then 4-4 in 2010, 1-1 last year. 6-1 last year, 1-1 in 2011 here. David Wright on deck. He'll follow. Daniel Murphy. He is 1 for 2 and draws a walk from Stammen. Blues Travelers coming to town. Nats Live 3 post-game concert series continues. Coming up June 8th after the Twins game on Saturday. A free post-game concert featuring Blues Traveler. Game tickets starting at $10. Go to nationals.com/NatsLive. Some restrictions do apply. Free post-game concert with a game ticket. Well, Daniel Murphy on to lead off the 5th inning with a walk-off Stammen. And the first batter he faces in the 5th inning. David Wright, who homered his last time up with a shot. The center, he's 1 for 2. Bouncing ball past Zimmerman and past Desmond into left field for a base hit. So the Mets get the first 2 batters on against Craig Stammen. A walk and a single. You know, the Mets are hoping that this is what they're going to get from David Wright from here on in. He's really Been struggling up until this game.
And he's a guy that over his last 14 games has been hitting 154, 8 for 52 coming into tonight. Having a big night here, busting out with a home run, a second at bat, a single. His third at bat, 2 for 3.
Been better on the road than he has at home, hitting 300. And 7 of his 8 home runs have come away from Citi Field. That's the Mets' 8th hit of the game. Duda swings and misses. No balls and 2 strikes. Stammen gets ahead of him. Good look at the right-hander. Played football, played basketball, and baseball in high school. One of the outstanding pitchers, all-time leader in strikeouts at Dayton. And a swing and a miss, and he's retired.
Good slider right there from Stammen. That's been his out pitch for the last couple of years. Seems like the league has a tough time picking up the rotation. Throws 1 for a strike, establishes it in the strike zone, then usually bounces 1 with 2 strikes. And here you see the bouncer. Good block by Suzuki. Almost got hit in the back of the head on the finish from Lucas Duda. He might have got hit in the back of the head.
Oh, there's 1 down. And the Met that's done the most damage tonight will face Stammen. And that's Marlon Byrd. 2 home runs and 2 at-bats. A 2-run shot and a solo. What do you pitch to him?
Strikes.
There's 1 right there. No balls and a strike. I'll tell you, Craig Stammen came to our charity golf tournament a couple of weeks ago, and the fans, the gallery, the people that came to our tournament really enjoyed his presence. Matt Iden from the Nationals strength and conditioning staff was also there. And Craig visiting with everybody and representing the ball club in a first-class manner. Just a terrific young guy.
Pretty good golfer, too.
He's a heck of a good golfer. Mets with runners at first and second. Swing and a miss for Byrd. As Stammen comes inside to him and gets ahead in the count. No balls and 2 strikes. So he's ahead to Marlon Byrd. And we'll take a ball inside. In the on-deck circle for the Mets, Ike Davis. Bird spent some time here back in 2005 and 2006 with the Nats. Hit .264 and .223 in those 2 years. And on to Texas and Chicago and then Boston. And finally, the Mets. And Stammen strikes out consecutively Lucas Duda and now Marlon Byrd.
It's a nice sequence right there between Kurt Suzuki and Craig Stammen. Threw those 2-seam fastballs into Marlon Byrd early in the count. Made him feel the fastball in. Let's check out the Verizon Fios Exmo. Little 3/4 release, get inside of that 2-seamer, try to backdoor it. Marlon Byrd, the front shoulder flying because of the sequence, and the 2-seam fastballs in before that. Going away right there for strike 3. Nice job.
Yeah, nice job is right. Stammen 2 strikeouts this inning. Dan Herron had 1 in his 4 innings of work. And the Mets first baseman Ike Davis steps in. He's 1 for 1 tonight. He has 1 of the New York 8 hits. Ike Davis living out in Scottsdale, Arizona.
Don't ask me where that is.
It's just east of Sacramento.
All right, thanks. Is that by Bob Carpenter's house?
Came up with the Mets back in 2010. Made his debut with a pretty good season. .264. Hit 19 home runs. Not so good this year. 164 average coming in. Stammen fall behind the count. 3 balls, no strikes.
Might be swinging right here. Terry Collins might be looking for the knockout blow.
And Stammen delivers. That is ball 4. Second walk of the inning. 2 strikeouts, 2 walks, and a base hit. PNC minor league report. PNC Bank for the Achiever in U. Matt Grayson Harrisburg promoted to Double-A this week. Pretty good numbers, FP.
Yeah, he's ready. Call him up.
3.0, 2.90, 7 walks, 25 strikeouts. Kept the ball in the ballpark. 8th round pick 3 years ago from UCLA. So Stammen 2 walks and 2 strikeouts in this 5th inning. That's up 5-1. Johnny Holiday, FP Santangelo with you on Masson. Bob Carpenter off for the week. Anthony Recker is facing Stammen with the bases loaded. And 2 outs.
This becomes a big part of this ball game. You talk about being down by 4 within 1 swing range if you're the Nationals, or the Mets having a chance to blow this thing open right here. So with a walk to Ike Davis, a guy that's 2 for 24 with runners in scoring position and 2 outs this year. I think Craig Stammen a little bit more comfortable facing the right-hander, but he's going to have to go to work. Keep it at 4 runs, you got a chance. Try not to let it get away here in the 5th.
Two balls, no strikes to the Mets catcher. With the bases loaded, 2 outs. Bouncing ball in the gap, that'll score 2. Ball gets away from Lombardozzi briefly, but the run would have scored anyhow. And 2 RBIs for Anthony Recker. That's only his 4th and 5th of the year.
Yeah, bat died a hero for Recker. Broken bat job right here, right between short and third, perfectly placed. Big 2-out hit for the Mets. The leadoff walk scores, and just like that, it's 7-1.
How many times do walks come back to haunt you? And New York up, as FP said, 7-1 with 9 hits. Then 3 home runs. The Juan Lagares will face Craig Stammen. Bunted his way on for a base hit in the 4th inning. This crowd of just about the same as we had last night, or close to 31,000, kind of sitting back waiting for something to happen for the Nats. Breaking ball makes it a 1-ball, 1-strike count to Lagares. With Dylan G waiting in the on-deck circle. Stammen checking the runners at 1st and 2nd. Another line drive, same exact spot. Third base coach is going to hold up. The runner at 3rd, he'll stay at 3rd. And Lagares on with a base hit, loads him up again.
I thought Tim Tuffle waved.
He did.
Ike Davis right there, and Ike Davis decided he didn't want to score. Juan Lagares, a base hit to left field, and watch Tim Tuffle, third base coach for the Mets. Come on, let's go, Ike.
Yeah.
I think I'll stop.
Yeah. So Davis at 3rd, Recker at 2nd, and Lagares on with a base hit. He's 2 for 3.
I mean, that's why you wave the runner, because Dylan G's up. You have the 8-hole guy get you a bonus hit right there. You're up by 6 runs. You'll take your chances every single time with the possibility of Ike Davis getting thrown out at 3rd with your pitcher coming up. Having a little chuckle about it down there. When I wave my arm,
that means go.
It means come on.
Yeah. Followed by don't ever do that again. The Mets padding their lead. They're up by 6. Hammond comes inside to Dylan G. He was looking for some run support. He's got it tonight. Hammond delivers. That ball's in there for a strike. 1 ball and 1 strike. Runners on the bases. You got Davis and Recker and Lagares. Dylan G with a foul down the third baseline. Nice grab by Tim Tuffle. For 1 ball and 2 strikes. 8th batter to face Craig Stammen in the Mets' 5th inning. Breaking ball outside, and it's 2 balls, 2 strikes. Greg has thrown 26 pitches this inning.
It's a good pitch.
Good pitch. Going to call the ball. 3 balls and 2 strikes.
That 2-seam fastball. Was it down? Was it away? Was it a strike?
And Buddy Foster says ball. And the count full. Nowhere to put G. Runners on the move. And G swings and fouls it way in the upper deck down the left field line. Just a little bit out in front of that one. 13 strikes, 15 balls. Stammen's numbers here in the 5th inning of his 28 pitches. Run rate average now at 3.18. The 3-2. Swing and a miss fouled at the plate. Got just a piece of it. As we look to the Nationals' 5th inning, it'll be Zimmerman, LaRoche, and Desmond to see if they can get something going against Dylan G. 3 balls, 2 strikes. Runners on the run. Bouncing ball down the left side. It's foul. And the Mets really making Craig work here in this 5th inning.
Dylan G with a little fight right here against Craig Stammen. You're wondering if that last outing in Atlanta for Stammen, that 9-1-1 emergency outing, is taking its toll here tonight.
Punching ball fouled again down the third baseline. That's pitch number 31 this inning. 15 balls, 16 strikes.
It's one way to tire Dylan G out.
Make him stand there and foul the ball. Yeah, sure.
Stand up there for half an hour.
Here's the 3-2. This time to Zimmerman. Steps on third with a force. And the inning is over. But not before the Mets add on a couple of more as we head to the bottom of the 5th here in Washington. Boston. It's game 3 of the series against the New York Mets. Sean Markham, who's 0-6 with a 5.71, will take to the hill for the New York Mets. 57-42 in his career. In the Nationals counter with lefty Gio Gonzalez. This season 3-3 with a 3.64. Allowed 1 run in 7 innings his last start against the Braves in Atlanta. Coverage all starts at 6:30 with Nats Extra with Byron Kerr and the Silver Fox Ray Knight. You know, when the Nationals win, everybody wins all season long. When the Nats win and score 7 runs or more, you get 50% off regular menu price online orders at papajohns.com by entering promo code NATS50. Valid at participating D.C., Maryland, and Northern Virginia Papa John's locations. Better ingredients, better pizza. Papa John's, the official pizza of your Washington Nationals. Zimmerman, LaRoche, and Desmond. See what they can do against Dylan G.
Story last night, Jeremy Hefner. Story tonight, Dylan G.
And both guys in Terry Collins' rotation now. Who knows for how long, and both guys effective. Certainly G more effective tonight than Hefner last night. Bouncing ball is short. And today on the first, and there's 1 down in the Nationals' 5th inning. Dodge inside the numbers tonight on Adam LaRoche. Off-speed pitches hitting 355. Suzuki, Zimmerman above 300. Denard Span at 270. And Bryce Harper 244.
Interesting.
Average 234, huh?
Yeah, I like that. That's interesting. Sitting on softer. Swings that are able to look hard and be able to adjust to the off-speed pitch. Catch it out front. Keep your hands back even if you're fooled.
Well, there's 1 away here in the 5th inning. New York with 2 in the 2nd, 3 in the 3rd, and 2 more in the 5th. Have a 7-1 lead. And the pitch to LaRoche. 1 ball and 1 strike. Ian Cole back working in the Nationals bullpen. We may see him make his major league debut tonight. That ball inside almost hit Adam. 2010 Oakland Athletics minor league player of the year was Ian Cole, involved in that player to be named later in the Michael Morse deal. Count to LaRoche, 2 balls and a strike, and it's not 2-2. Desmond on deck. As the Nationals only run driven in tonight.
Cole will be the 5th National this season to make his major league debut. Davis, Rendon, Hobornus, Carnes, and now Kroll when he enters this game. Who would have thought that at the beginning of the season? 5 guys making their big league debut.
How about 7 players on the roster today started the season in the minor leagues?
Jim Lett keeping him loose down there. Some smiles. Pretty good first day in the big leagues for Kroll. He got to jump around with his teammates and a walk-off win.
LaRoche stays alive, pounds it back out of play.
It's a good bullpen coach right there. Knows a kid might be a little bit nervous about to jump into his first major league game, and you see him laughing, joking around. Jimmy Lett's been around the block. He knows how to handle it and keep him loose, get him in there, throwing strikes. Love it.
Well, you're right there. One of the best. Count is full to LaRoche. 3 balls and 2 strikes. Jim Lett on the right. Ian Kroll on the left.
And we'd be in trouble if it was the reverse.
Yes, it would be.
Yeah, that would not be good.
Here's the pitch to LaRoche. Fouled away again. Now the count remains full. 3 balls, 2 strikes, 1 away. Dylan G with 75 pitches. Bouncing ball to second. Daniel Murphy. On Ike Davis. 2 up, 2 down here in the 5th. That'll bring up Ian Desmond.
Let's go dodge inside the numbers with Ian Desmond. Most hits on the first pitch this year. That's what an 0-0 count is. The first pitch, Ian Desmond with 15. See Rizzo with 16, Parra 15. All those guys hack.
So there's 2 down in the 5th, and Ian Desmond will step in. Had the RBI in the first inning, struck out in the 3rd. One of 4 strikeouts recorded by Dylan G. Takes that breaking ball in for a strike. No balls and 1 strike. Desmond's hitting streak continues tonight, as does his flawless play at shortstop. Foul back at the plate.
And check out the 3rd time through for Dylan G this year. 2nd time 323, 3rd time through the league is hitting 412. That's right, 412 off Dylan G.
So it would seem this is a good time to pick it up. Desmond pops it to center. Lagares says, I got it. He takes it, and the Nats are gone in the 5th. We go to the top of the 6th. Mets lead it. Seven 7-0. New York hitting 3 home runs in this ball game tonight. The Ryan Zimmerman Fan Challenge is here. Visit Facebook.com/Massive Nationals before the 16th of June. Submit a video challenging Ryan to any competition of your choice. Ryan's going to pick his 3 favorites. The public will vote to decide who wins. The Ryan Zimmerman Fan Challenge is presented by Care First, who encourages each of us to take that first step towards a healthier and more active lifestyle. Ian Crow makes his major league debut. FP, got to be excited about this.
Yeah, check out his numbers at Harrisburg. 21 games, an 0.69 ERA. The 22-year-old acquired in the Michael Morse trade. Had a big league bump for his first time. Power fastball, slider change from Kroll. And then throwing strikes at the AA level. Everybody excited about seeing the young prospect in his major league debut. See what he's got.
Well, he faces a Mets team that has a lead tonight of 7-1 over the Nationals as we go to the top of the 6th inning. Everybody kind of getting in the act there for New York except Quintanilla and also Dylan G are hitless. Everybody else has a base hit, at least one. And Marlon Byrd, those 2 home runs. And David Wright also going deep. So Quintanilla will lead off. Then Murphy, and then David Wright. And the left-hander's first pitch of the major leagues. Here's a ball.
95 out of bed.
Not bad. Quintanilla 0 for 3.
Okay.
Yeah. How about 95 again? Second pitch, a strike.
That'll play.
3 consecutive 95 mile an hour pitches.
Mercedes on the pitch track. Check out Ian Kroll, 95 miles an hour.
Bring it.
Digging this.
And the 1-2 to the bat shortstop. Just misses outside. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Quintanilla early last week playing in Las Vegas. Here's Kroll's pitch. Misses inside and tight. The count is full.
Trying to harness that adrenaline, harness those nerves right here and throw a 3-2 strike.
Daniel Murphy waiting on deck, then David Wright. And he punches it down the left field line. Lombardozzi trying for the diving catch, can't come up with it. Quintanilla going for second, slides in head first with a double. Well, Lombardozzi gave it a good shot, FP. Tried to come up with that ball.
Well, 3-2 strike from Kroll. Maybe a hair away. Quintanilla with a nice job of just serving that in the left. It looked like Lombardozzi got caught in between a little bit right there in the sinking line drive. Off the bat of Quintanilla. Leadoff double here in the 6th for the Mets.
Well, Kroll works out of the stretch for the first time. Delivers at 94 in the gun to Daniel Murphy, a ball outside. Up from Double-A Harrisburg. The great earned run average, you saw it moments ago, 0.69 in 21 games. And the 1-1. That breaking ball is inside.
The key for any kid making his major league debut is just turning it into another baseball game. Easy to say, right? But it'll go from my first big league appearance to just another game, and it's how quick that can happen for Ian Kroll here tonight.
And settle down the adrenaline quickly if you can. So quickly, Murphy ahead in the count. 3 balls and a strike. The second batter that Ian Kroll has faced here in his major league debut. 94 in the gun, in for a strike. FP, he wastes no time getting that ball and firing.
And as soon as he gets in that strike zone a little more consistently here in his debut, that'll play nicely for him.
And then he's got David Wright to face next, and he strikes out Daniel Murphy. First major league strikeout for Ian Kroll.
So a couple of 3-2 counts to start your major league career. Quintanilla with a double. This one strike 3. Took a little off to throw the strike. Watch this one, 92 miles an hour. So he's been 94, 96. This one 92. And Daniel Murphy can't catch up. A little bit tardy. Nice pitch. Congratulations on your first major league strikeout. And there's a Major League Baseball authenticator guy putting a stamp on that one.
So Stammen strikes out 2. Kroll gets 1, and Dan Haren had 1 at his work of 4 innings tonight. David Wright's had a good night, 2 for 3 with a base hit in the 5th, a home run, a 2-run homer in the 3rd, and bounced out to Anthony Rendon at second his first time up. Breaking ball across the plate for strike 1.
Tried the slider a couple times. And adrenaline plus a slider's not working. Going to the fastball, it is.
He's been consistently above the 90 mile per hour number in that gun. That was 94. And this for Kroll, his 16th pitch.
Same pitch?
Same pitch. Well, Marty Foster's strike zone, quite interesting.
Well, David Wright turned to him after the second strike. Watch the pitch track. Yeah, that one was more in.
Here's the 2-2 to Wright. Gets away from Suzuki. On down to third. Omar Quintanilla. Noah Kroll throws his first wild pitch as a major leaguer. So the Mets with a runner in scoring position at third, and Quintanilla and Wright with a full count. 3-2. Check swing.
Marty Foster said he went. He called him out. David Wright asking for Marty Foster to go to Tim McClellan at first base for some help. David Wright in a rage right now. And I think he pointed at the scoreboard and said it's 7-1. Or something to that effect. Let's check it out. You be the judge at home. Did he go?
Yes. He didn't think he did.
So 3-3-2 counts and 2 strikeouts for Ian Kroll. Living on the edge here in his debut.
He sure is. But he got Murphy on strikes. He got Wright looking. Let's see what he can do now with Lucas Duda.
There's moments as a rookie, and I don't know if it's happening right now. He's probably not even going to remember this appearance, where you'll think back and say, I struck out David Wright. Well, that's a big deal.
Well, the kind of player that Wright is, I'd say it'd be a big, good deal. Now there's 1 ball and 1 strike to Duda.
And there's always that, no matter how confident you are as a young player, that inner doubt, does my stuff play at this level? And the only way to find out is doing what he's doing right now. And at a 1-2 count, Nats fans know they got a rookie on the mound and they're getting behind and making some noise.
Head of the count to Duda. 1-2 pitch. Foul back. Mets with a lead of 7-1 over the Nationals. We're in the top of the 6th here at Nationals Park. Same 2 ball clubs tomorrow night at 7. The Twins coming in on the weekend, Friday night, Saturday afternoon, and Sunday afternoon. We're looking at Ian Cole making his major league debut tonight. He strikes out Duda, and the young guy comes out of the bullpen and strikes out the side. He got Murphy, he got Wright, he got Duda. In his major league debut, gets a little standing ovation.
How about that?
So, yeah. Wow. Mercedes-Benz of Arlington and Mercedes-Benz of Alexandria. Dylan G's been in this game tonight at Pete. 5 innings, 1 walk, 4 strikeouts, 79 pitches.
Well, like I said, last night the story was Jeremy Hefner. Tonight it's Dylan G. A nice curveball with 2 strikes. Been moving the fastball around. Backup slider right there for a questionable called third. But Dylan G taking advantage of a little bit of a lead. Free and easy, getting the job done. So like I said, first time through the order, Dylan G, 236 the league's hitting against him. Second time through, 323. Third time through, 412 with 2 home runs. And there is no fourth time through.
No. So G will face Anthony Rendon, Steve Lombardozzi, and Kurt Suzuki in the Nats half of the 6th inning. With his ball club supplying him with a lot of runs tonight, he's got a 7-1 lead. That is not Tyler Clippard. That's Ike. That's Davis out there in the Nationals bullpen. Eric Davis, another young guy, and a swing and a miss, and Rendon strikes out. Strikeout number 5 for G. You can send your favorite Net to the 84th Major League Baseball All-Star Game. It's going to be held at Citi Field in New York, July the 16th. Vote early, vote often, and vote Nationals. Vote online at nationals.com/vote.
Third leading vote getter right there, Bryce Harper.
But a pretty good feeling that Bryce may be playing in New York in July in that All-Star game.
Buster Posey, Justin Upton, and Bryce Harper.
There's the pitch to Lombardozzi. It's 1 ball and 1 strike. 1 away here in the 6th. He grounded out first time up and then flew out. His second time up. And the 1-1 swing and a miss. 1 ball and 2 strikes.
Well, you talk about Freddie Garcia last week in the Orioles that badly had with Dan Herron. 8 innings pitched, 3 hits, no runs. Tonight, in the 3rd inning, he's given up 5 runs already. And Dan Herron with a rough one here, too. So 2 guys that locked horns last time, next time out, both scuffled.
Lombardozzi retired. Nice play by David Wright at 3rd.
That's against the Astros, too.
Well, the Nats box tonight. Denard Span's got a 2-for-3 night going. The double, the single, the run scored. LaRoche with a base hit and a walk. Desmond, the RBI single, accounting for the Nats' only run of the game. That's way back in the 1st inning. And Suzuki and Herron also had base hits. And that's it. 7 total. Roger Bernardino also with a pinch hit for Dan Herron in his 1 appearance at the plate. So G with 2 quick outs here in the 6th. When I go to work against Kurt Suzuki. Swinging a long drive to right center field. It is off the wall. Handled by Lagares. And Suzuki in the second base with a double.
Now that's something you might see Kurt Suzuki do more of as the season goes on, is take advantage of that first pitch. This is a guy that likes to go deep into the counts, and when you get the reputation for taking the first pitch, you could take advantage of that coming down the road. And Kurt Suzuki right there, all over a first pitch fastball right down the middle from Dylan G. Just misses a home run right over the Geico sign in right field. A 2-out double for Suzuki. He's been swinging it well. 2 for 3 tonight. Had a couple of hard hit balls last night.
And that's his 6th double of the year as Tyler Moore will step into pinch hit. Moore on the year batting .151 with 2 home runs, 13 driven in. And the 2 down, they got the Nats have Suzuki with that double at second base.
5 of the Nats' 8 hits tonight, Johnny, have been on the first pitch.
Mostly fastballs thrown by G tonight. He's from Cleburne, Texas. Swinging a long drive to left field. That ball is foul. By about 20 feet down that left field line.
We just caught that slider a little bit out in front, but Dylan G's been getting away with that backup slider all night tonight. Tyler Moore trying to make him pay. That time just hooks foul at the end. That ball was roasted. Long strike for Tyler Moore.
Well, G's been very impressive tonight. The game against the Yankees snapped a streak of 9 straight starts without any of them being quality starts. He's working his way in the 6th inning tonight against Washington, and it's no balls and 2 strikes to Tyler Moore. Pinch hitting for Cole. His major league debut, strikes out the side, gives up the 1 base hit, the double to Quintanilla. A good look at Tyler Moore. No balls, 2 strikes. Suzuki with the lead off second. And the 0-2 pitch. And the Nationals retired in the 6th inning. We go to the top of the 7th. New York with a 7-1 lead over the Nats.
As we go to the top of the 7th, it's time for your Head and Shoulders whiff. And let's check out the Major League debut of Ian Kroll. After a leadoff double to Omar Quintanilla, strikes out Murphy, strikes out Wright, and he wants some help from first. Replay showed he went. And strikes out Lucas Duda. Topped out at 96, some power stuff. Nats fans in appreciation of a fine Major League debut from Ian Kroll. Nice job.
And certainly time to smile after that effort tonight. You see Rendon right there with him. And Eric Davis comes out of the Nationals bullpen.
A second appearance for Eric Davis. Fastball, curveball change. 3-pitch guy. Fastball first time out, averaged 93 miles an hour.
Made his debut against the Atlanta Braves, sounding Atlanta. He and Drew Storen, roommates at Stanford, teammates at Stanford. 1 and 2 at Syracuse. And he can get it up there too. 94 on the gun, his first pitch. He'll face Marlon Byrd. 2 home runs and 3 trips to the plate tonight. A couple of years ago with Texas, he had 20 home runs. Back in 2009. Well, he got 7 this year. Now there's 2 balls and 1 strike. Bird in right field tonight. Pinch hit last night. Nationals had trouble getting something going tonight since that first inning. Nothing but goose eggs up there on the scoreboard. And the count goes to 3 balls and 1 strike. On deck, Mike Davis, then Anthony Recker will follow Davis. He's 1 for 2 with a single tonight. And Davis with a 94-mile-an-hour fastball. 3 balls, 2 strikes. Count is full.
We saw it on the pitch track. Little two-seam fastball running back. Kurt Suzuki with a good frame. Marty Foster liked the pitch.
And the 3-2. Missed outside. So Bird on for the 3rd time tonight. And Davis' first batter. He walks.
I don't think Davey Johnson will ever have a problem with the young guys called up from the minor league system if they pound the strike zone and they get hit.
Yeah.
But he will have a problem with guys that walk people because there's no defense for that. So he wants to see his young guys that get called up throw strikes. You get hit, but get hit being aggressive.
Dwight Davis up for the 3rd time tonight. Got a single, flew out, and then walked back in the 5th inning. That's Reviews. Dan Herron started tonight, then Craig Stammen came in for an inning. Ian Cole pitched the 6th, Stammen the 5th. And Herron had a tough night. 4 innings. He gave up the 7 hits and 5 runs. Didn't walk anybody. Struck out 2. And the 2-1 inside. Tell you, FP, they got some good young arms.
Yeah, throw 95 and go with a 2-1 changeup right there. You think he'd go challenge him, but decided to go with the off speed. Ike Davis not biting. That's a good fastball from Eric Davis.
And Ike Davis questioning that call. No, Davis against Davis. Count is full. 3-2. Got him with a call, 3rd strike.
A great pitch right there by Eric Davis to strike out Ike Davis. Looking 92 on the black. Good frame. Davis looking for the ball close to him. The other Davis trying to go away. It's a good pitch.
Yeah, it sure was. So Anthony Recker, the Mets catcher, will be in. Ground out twice, 2-run single. His last time up. Mets with 11 hits tonight. Here's the 1-0 outside. Well, FP, all that momentum that they had from last night, which we thought would carry over to this ball game tonight. Well, they've still got that 7th, 8th, and 9th inning, 3 more opportunities. And a long way to go in this game.
Well, the old saying, momentum's only as good as your next day's pitcher, is true. I mean, it was nice to see that fight in the Nats last night. It was great to have a walk-off win, especially on a day when there was so much drama around the ballpark. Guys getting released, guys getting put on the DL. First walk-off win of the year for Davey Johnson's troops. And it was a big one. But tonight it just hasn't happened yet. 8 hits for the Nats, just 1 run.
And that came way back in the 1st inning. Count to Recker full, 3 balls, 2 strikes, 1 away. Mike Davis, a strikeout victim. Marlon Byrd down at first after Getting on with a walk. First batter Eric Davis faces tonight. And the count is full to record. Davis off and running. Shot to left field over Lombardozzi's head, off the wall. Rounding third, heading for home with run number 8. Marlon Byrd scores and a stand-up double for Anthony Recker.
Third RBI of the night for Recker.
Been a one-man wrecking crew, hasn't he?
He has. Came in hitting 160. Second hit of the night, 2 for 4, 3 RBIs for Anthony Recker. Caught that one out in front, gave it a ride, and the funny kick allowed Tim Tuffle to wave Marlon Byrd.
And Marlon Byrd scores for the third time tonight. And it's 8-1 Mets. Fly ball to right. That's going to drop in for a base hit. Lagares is on with hit number 13. Record of third. Well, coming up, we'll be with you again tomorrow night. The Mets are in town to wrap up the series. And then the Twins at 7 o'clock on Friday. 4 o'clock with our friends at WUSA 9 joining us. And then the Twins again on Sunday afternoon. Then you guys, Bob's back with FP, and you head out to Colorado for series against the Rockies.
Twins coming into town. Kent Herbeck, Tom Kelly bringing the boys in. Pretty interesting.
Dylan G has not had a hit tonight. He doesn't need to have a base hit. Hitting 0-67. He's got a 7-run cushion now. And no activity out in the Nationals bullpen with one away here in the 7th inning.
I think Frank Viola's going game 1 of that. Win the series.
Bert Blyleven, is he going to make the start?
He is.
Going to miss him in the rotation?
No, he's scheduled to start the second game.
Yeah, okay.
Gary Gaetti's hot right now, so that's going to be interesting.
Interleague play on the weekend. 2-2 the count to Dylan G. Runners in scoring position pretty much tells the story. Even though the Mets only 4 for 13, they haven't needed scoring position with runners out there to hit 3 home runs. And G fouls it back in the screen. Count remains 2 balls, 2 strikes with a 1 out. And the 2-2. Foul back at the plate. Quintanilla would be next. As we go back to the top of the Mets batting order. Then Murphy, then David Wright again. Davis gives up another base hit and another run. Everybody in the act. An RBI single for Dylan G. Driving in Recker from third, and it's 9-1. One of those nights, FP. And Steve McCatty will make the slow stroll out to visit with Eric Davis. Top to bottom for the Mets, everybody in the hit parade tonight. Short, quick conversation. That's a pounded out 14 hits. They are one shy of the team high this year. They had 15 against Minnesota, of all people. May 21st. April 12th, I beg your pardon.
Dylan G came in tonight just 1 for 15. He's had some spirited at-bats. Had that battle last time out. Ended up grounding out to first base. Had a big sacrifice bunt in the 4th, and that base hit right there for an RBI.
And the pitch inside. 1 ball, 1 strike. Only 1 away here in the 7th inning for New York. Lagares at second, Dylan G at first, and Quintanilla. Ground out, a fly out, strike out, and a double. And Fernando Abad, who pitched an inning Sunday against the Braves, he's loosening up. He's appeared in 6 games so far in relief. And the count 2 balls, 2 strikes with 1 away. Mets had lost their last 4 in a row. And a swing and a miss. So he strikes out Omar Quintanilla. Eric Davis with his 2nd strikeout. Time for the Toyota case for kids. The D.C. area Toyota dealers want to help children and their families by making a donation of $37 to the Children's End at NIH for every strikeout by a Nats pitcher this season. Well, tonight they've struck out 8. And Eric Davis will face Daniel Murphy with 2 away. He struck out Quintanilla and Ike Davis. Mets have pushed across 2 more runs here in the 7th. And activity again in that Nationals bullpen, Jeffy.
You know, I forgot to mention Steve Lombardozzi's dad coming in with the Nats. I mean, with the Twins to play the Nats.
Correct.
That's my bet on that one.
Fly ball to lead Steve in left field. It's over his head and off the wall. Another run will score. They'll hold up G at third base, and walking into second with a double is Daniel Murphy. And that ties their season high for hits in a game. They've got 15. And Murphy 2 hits tonight.
Well, the Mets came in National League worst 225 team average. That's going up as we speak. 15 hits, 10 runs. Swinging the bats here tonight against the Nats.
So G winds up at third base. David Wright steps in. Murphy down at second. 2 away and 3 runs in.
Yeah, Johnny, you and I looked at each other tonight. We were filling out our lineup cards and saw 164, 160, 146, and 067 for the Mets.
Right.
The last 4 hitters. That's why you play the games.
And they've got exactly.
I mean, they've had a good night, all those guys. Lagares 3 hits. Record 2 hits, 3 RBIs. Ike Davis a single, a walk, and Dylan G's done the job.
He's got a base hit and an RBI. It is 10-1 with Mets at second and third. Davis with a pitch to David Wright, foul back into the screen. 2 balls and 2 strikes. And 2 outs. The Mets have really had trouble scoring games until tonight, scoring in ball games 3 runs or less. They have plated 11 of their last 17 games. And Davis will get the strikeout. He strikes out 3, but not before the Mets tack on some more. They lead the Nationals 10-1 in the 7th inning. New York, Nationals baseball, the Masters is brought to you by Navy Federal Credit Union. 4 million members, 4 million stories. Navy Federal Credit Union. And by Ocean City, Maryland. You can book your Ocean City, Maryland vacation at OCOcean.com. And by 5-Hour Energy. Mets need some energy here in these last 3 innings. You go to inning number 7. And the Mets with a 10-1 lead. Well, we have seen Kroll strike out 3, and then Davis strikes out 3, but in between the strikeouts, giving up lots of hits and some runs. Although Kroll was impressive, what FP?
Yeah, bright side of tonight is Ian Kroll making his major league debut, throwing 96 miles an hour, striking out 3 guys in a row after a leadoff double. Well, Dylan G goes after the Nats for the 4th time through the order.
His longest start of the season against the Yankees last Thursday, when he went 7 1/3. Well, this was the 7th inning for him tonight. Bernard Span, Jason Worth, and Ryan Zimmerman. Span with a line drive to right. And there's one away.
Bernard Span has swung the bat well all night for the Nats. 2 for 4 with the line out right there. He's got that foot down early, swinging very aggressive early in the count. That's a hang with him.
Little G season high pitch is 106. And tonight he's got 93. A lot of strikes, 67 strikes thrown by the Mets starter. Nobody's been working at all tonight out there in that New York bullpen, not with a 10-1 lead. And Jason Worth an 0 for 3 night. He struck out his last 2 times to the plate and then flied to center to Juan Lagares in the 1st inning. And a check swing. 1 ball, 2 strikes to Jason. 2nd game back since coming off the DL. That's when they get some guys on base, just make some contact, and Worth fouls it off way down the right field line. Up in the seats. 1 ball and 2 strikes for the veteran Jason Worth. And Ryan Zimmerman awaits his opportunity, then Adam LaRoche. And the 1-2 pitch. That swing foul down the first base line.
And Jason Worth missed 28 games trying to knock some rust off here. Some good at-bats last night.
Yeah, Pete, did you expect G to be this effective tonight?
I did not.
He's really been roughed up by a lot of ball clubs. Never got out of the 5th inning his 2 previous starts before the Yankee game. He'd only gone 5 innings, 4 innings, 5 innings. Gave up a lot of hits, 9, 8, a lot of runs. Worth fouls it back out of play, and it's 2 balls, 2 strikes. He picked a heck of a time to throw the kind of game he's throwing tonight.
He was coming off a dandy last time out. Like you said, 12 strikeouts against the Yankees, who swing the bat well. Just an 88 pitch performance through 7 1/3 for G last time. And picking up right where he left off.
He's still got the 4th highest earned run average in the National League, 568 coming in.
Let's go dodge inside the numbers with Dylan G. Last 2 starts. Check that out.
Walk, 18 strikeouts, 13 2/3 innings. And Worth with a good eye. Count goes to full, 3 balls and 2 strikes. Greg Burke begins to loosen up in the Mets bullpen. Yeah, the pitch to Worth, swing and a miss. And there's 2 quick outs here in the Nationals 7th. Potomac Nationals, first place Potomac Nationals back in action in Woodbridge for a 3-game series beginning Friday night through Sunday. Promotions include Drew Store and Poster Night. A lot of fireworks, and kids eat free on Sunday. Got to come down and see the future stars of your Washington Nationals by going to PotomacNationals.com for ticket and also promotional information. Zimmerman grounded to second. Grounded to third and grounded also to short tonight. 0 for 3. Ryan hitting .274. And that ball is just foul.
Nice play.
Zimmerman just over the outstretched glove of Quintanilla. He's on to the base hit. And the Nationals have their 9th of the night.
He had to do something right to throw it out there like that. Got his hands inside the baseball. I mean, it's just so important as a player in games like this not to throw at-bats away. They all count, right? They end up at the end of the season. And you used to be in situations that count, that are crucial. But the good hitters take them all like their last at-bats, and you never want to give any away.
So with 2 away, it's Adam LaRoche again. Walk, single to the ground out. It's a line drive to right field. Bird's got it. And the Nationals are retired. We go to the top of the 8th. It's New York by 9. They lead it 10-1.
What? Well, touchdown and a field goal to a Rouge as we go to the top of the 8th. Just like we promised earlier in the game, it's Miller time. It's not just a good time, it's Miller time. And let's go back to the second inning. And the blow that got it all started, Marlon Byrd, after a leadoff double from Lucas Duda, goes deep. And that made it 2-0, and the Mets never looked back.
Well, Marlon Byrd's had a career night tonight, hasn't he, FP?
He has a couple of home runs, a walk.
3 runs scored. So Fernando Abad will come on now in his 7th game of the year. Jeff Corbinus will also be in the Nats lineup now. He will go to right field in place of Worth. And what's Abad got?
Fastball, curveball, change.
And he hits 94 in his first pitch to Lucas Duda. Duda struck out his last 2 times up. We're at the top of the 8th inning at Nats Park, and it's 10-1 Mets. And a breaking ball misses outside. 1 ball and 2 strikes. 1 walk and 4 strikeouts for Abad this year out of the bullpen. His 7th appearance.
96 right there. So a couple of lefties bringing the noise tonight out of the Nats bullpen.
What Kroll hit up? 95?
96.
96. Little tips up and got that one. And Duda strikes out for the 3rd time. Abad strikes out the first batter he faces.
That might have been the old slider that didn't slide right there. It's a little spinner up there. Duda thinking it's going to come down, but it stays up. And it works for strike 3.
FP, how about going from 96 to 77? That'll get your attention.
Yeah.
Marlon Byrd, 2-run homer in the 2nd, solo shot in the 3rd, struck out in the 5th, and walked and scored a run his last time up in the 7th. Bouncing ball to Zimmerman at 3rd. And just got him.
A nice footwork by Adam LaRoche on the backside of that long throw from Ryan Zimmerman across the diamond.
Though Fernando Abad retires the first 2 batters he faces. And will try to make Ike Davis 3 consecutive. Davis with a 1-for-4 night, single, fly out, 1-for-3 night with a walk and a strikeout. And the Mets catcher Anthony Recker's on deck. High fly ball, Span hustling in 4th. Nice 1-2-3 inning for Fernando Abad out of the bullpen. We go to the bottom of the 8th inning. It's the Mets 10, the Nationals 1. Mets with a 9-run lead. They lead the Nationals 10-1 as we head to the bottom of the 8th inning. Remember, our Washington, D.C. Lexus dealers donate $250 to Children's National Medical Center for every home run a Nats player hits this season. Keep them coming. It's for a wonderful cause, Lexus, the pursuit of perfection. Well, they get Dylan G out of there, and Greg Burke has come in, FP, from the bullpen.
Yeah, 17th appearance for Burke. See the 4.02 ERA. 14 strikeouts to just 5 walks. 3-quarter guy will sink it, he'll slide it. Opponent's average, 258. And weird that lefties are only hitting 208 and righties are hitting a lot better than that. You think it'd be the other way around.
Well, Dylan G threw 107 pitches in his work tonight. 7 innings, 9 hits, 1 run. There was Desmond's RBI in the first inning. Walked only 1 and struck out 7. 107 pitches, 78 strikes. He's in line to get his 4th win of the year and 2nd consecutive. Certainly catching Terry Collins' attention that he deserves to stay in that rotation. Ian Desmond, Anthony Rendon, Steve Lombardozzi hope to get something going here in the Nats' 8th inning. Fernando Abad came in, got the job done at the top of the inning. 1, 2, 3. Two balls, no strikes to Desmond. There's Abad.
Yeah, touch 96. Nice job.
Yeah, very nice job. Swinging a pop off to the right side at first base. Ike Davis coming over in front of the Nats dugout and retires Desmond with a pop out. And there's 1 down.
And the one thing too with Anthony Rendon that we'll probably keep an eye on is whenever you move to a new position, there's that stress factor of all my mental energy is focused on the new position.
Yeah, second base.
To where you're burning a lot of energy thinking about defense, that it can affect your offense. So it'd be nice to see Rendon for the Nationals right here check in with a base hit tonight. I don't think it'll affect him offensively. He's just too good of a hitter. But oftentimes when you move around early on and you are at a new position, it can affect your hit. And just because you're stressing out so much and thinking so much, where do I need to be in this situation? You know, am I covering here? Ground ball here. To where at third base, it's just second nature. You just know where to be. You know where to go. It's where you played the majority of your career. Now, on defense at a new position, you're thinking real hard on the cutoff and relay. Where do I have to be? If the ball's hit here, I got to go here. So you're going over pre-pitch preparation a lot more intently probably than you would at your natural position.
And how about tonight's game? The first ball hit from Quintanilla went right to Anthony Rendon at second base.
Yeah, sure. That's what's going to happen.
To retire the first batter.
And I have no doubt, nor does anybody in the Nationals camp have any doubt that this guy can get the job done defensively at second base. Just an adjustment period, almost like when you come off the disabled list to get your feet wet, get a feel for it to where you become comfortable at second nature. That guy knows a little bit about playing second base too.
Lombardozzi, very versatile, can play anywhere. Anthony Rendon smokes one to center field. He's going to have at least 2 and into second base with a double. Well, as you mentioned that, P, hitting's going to be there.
There's no doubt about it. I mean, he just got such a good approach. Gets himself into a 3-1 count. Watch the foot get down early. Picks up the release point. Gets on top of that riser from Burke and rides it into the left center field gap. If he could pull the ball into that gap, you see the way the outfield was shading him the other way. That's where his pop is to right center. If he can pull the ball like that, get into a count, I'll tell you what, he's going to get a lot of hits. That's a nice swing.
Second double this season for Anthony Rendon. Also scored a couple of runs. First time he was up at the club, taking over for Ryan Zimmerman when Zim went on the DL. And Steve Lombardozzi, 0 for 3 night, has a runner in scoring position now to see if he can bring him in. And That pitch inside. Lombardozzi hitting .228. He scored 11 runs this year, driven in 13. And Burke delivers. A little out in front in that one. It's 1 ball and 1 strike. Burke's been pretty effective out of the bullpen, FP, for the Mets.
And just pick up that release point. That's a big thing. Find out where that window is, where you see the baseball out of his hand and go to work.
As a hitter, that's got to be a tough challenge to pick up his pitches, a submariner like that.
Not really. It just takes a couple of pitches. And if you faced him before, you know where to pick it up. Find that window, look there late. You don't want to focus on that window. Kind of go to the top of the hat and then go down later. Find the release point, elevate it.
And get on it.
Absolutely.
That pitch way outside with 2 balls, 2 strikes to Lombardozzi. I would imagine his dad, Steve Sr., is in the house somewhere tonight. Ten to 1 Mets. We're in the bottom of the 8th here at Nationals Park. Fouled out a play down the left side. And Kurt Suzuki awaits his opportunity next. He's had a pretty good night, 2 for 3 for Suzuki. A double and single. Greg Burke in relief of Dylan G tonight. The count is 4-3-2. Nationals have had hits in every inning, had a man on base every inning except the 5th inning. Lombardozzi with a fly ball to left. In will come Duda, and there's 2 away. This copyrighted broadcast is presented by authority of Washington Nationals Baseball Club, may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. The accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Washington Nationals. No, Burke has 2 down in the 8th inning, and Suzuki will step in. With Anthony Rendon at second base after a double. And the pitch inside to Suzuki. That pitch way outside for a ball. 2 balls and no strikes.
That's just so interesting. Usually when you have a 3/4 guy, sidearm guy, righties don't fare too well, but coming into tonight, righties hitting 286. And lefties just 208. Usually with a 3/4 guy, it's the other way around.
The other way around.
You tell me his changeup's pretty good.
Suzuki bouncing ball just fouled down the 3rd baseline. And the count goes to 2-1. The Mets bullpen this year with an earned run average of 4.82. That's the worst in the National League. And Burke with a 2-1 count to the Nats catcher. Bouncing ball to second. Murphy on to first. And the Nats retire. We go to the top of the 9th at Nationals Park. 10-1 New York. lead as we head to the top of the ninth. MLB TV celebrates 11 years with new lowly yearly prices. You can watch every out-of-market game live at over 350 supported mobile and connected devices at HD quality with MLB.TV Premium. Visit MLB.TV today. MLB.TV, baseball everywhere. Jonathan Solano will come on to catch for the Nats as Fernando Abad stays out there for the ninth inning. He had a quick 1-2-3-8. He'll face Anthony Recker first. Then Juan Lagares. And the pitcher, Greg Burke. A little work out there in the Mets bullpen.
Robert Carson getting hot.
And the 2-1 to Recker. Ball strike two. Nice pitch. And Recker becomes Fernando Abad's second strikeout victim.
A changeup right here from Abad. Just gets away. Could have been a slider that didn't slide. Couldn't tell right there. 78 miles an hour. The left-handed side of the Nats bullpen tonight looking good.
Abad can really change speeds, can't he?
That's at 5 strikeouts. 3 by Kroll, 2 by Abad.
High fly ball to right. Cobertus coming in, but LaRoche drifting back on the infield grass to make the catch. Jeff Cobertus inserted the last inning out in right field. LaRoche and Rendon will talk things over for a moment. And Lagares is retired in the pop to first. And there's 2 away in the Mets ninth. So Justin Turner will come into pitch hit for Burke. As we look ahead to the Nationals' ninth inning, we've got the top of the order coming up. Davey Johnson checking over the card. 1-1 to Justin Turner. Turner with a .291 batting average. No home runs, no RBIs. Well, tonight, FP, just one of those nights you close the book, you look forward to tomorrow.
Yeah, try to win a series, right?
Yep, you win the series.
Gio Gonzalez going for you.
Got a pretty good shot.
7 o'clock on Mass and HD. Markham versus Gonzalez. Make sure to check the people that Johnny doesn't even talk to this week on Nats Extra at 6:30. Just been big league in the whole pregame and postgame show since he got up here in the booth. Ray came up here tonight. He said, I can't talk to you, Ray.
Who was? Is that who it was?
Yeah, I'm a play-by-play guy right now. I'm a big league announcer. He walked right by the set apparently last night without saying hi to anybody. So word is you've changed.
Keep it up. I have been known to pay back. Bouncing ball to short. Then we go to the bottom of the ninth. See what the Nats can do here. Somehow, some way to pull it out and get the win.
It's leading the Nationals 10-1. Match Extra post-game show just around the corner. We'll talk about this, Byron Kerr and Ray Knight. And Nationals are down 5-1 early. Dan Heron giving them some home run balls. Unfortunately, that splitter, Marlon Byrd was able to take advantage.
Yeah, Danny just throwing the ball in the middle of the plate, and they were teeing off early. And we had a couple opportunities to keep the game close and just didn't do it. Had a lot of hits tonight, but we just haven't put them together at the right time.
Going to look at that fourth inning where the Nationals had a good chance, and then the fifth where the Mets erupted for a couple of runs, guys. And now trying to pick up the pieces, but as FP said, got a chance for the series tomorrow. Heading to the bottom of the ninth, Johnny.
Okay, Byron, thank you very much, and thank you, Ray. As we go to the bottom of the ninth, Robert Carson comes in as the Mets' third pitcher this evening.
Well, I think it's all Byron's fault for wearing Mets colors tonight out there on the pregame set.
Opponents hitting only .277 off Carson, who is making his appearance tonight as the Mets' third pitcher. G started, and Burke with that one inning, and here comes Carson. And for Washington, the Nationals will see what Jeff Kobernis can do to lead off the ninth inning.
Well,
we go back to last night, remember?
Chance to see a first big league hit right here, right now.
Well, we have seen the big league debut tonight of Kroll. Davis was very effective. Abad was very effective, too. 43 games at Syracuse for Kobernis this year. .333 with 21 stolen bases. 10-1 here in the last of the ninth inning. Johnny Holiday for Bob Carpenter. FP Santangelo alongside. And we're going to be back with you again tomorrow night as the Nats try to win the series against the Mets. Nats have had some golden opportunities tonight. Runners on the bases every inning except one, the fifth inning. But just couldn't get them around. And they had a 1-0 lead in that first inning of Desmond's RBI, and that's been it. That's with 2 long balls tonight. Bird with a couple of home runs. Kobernis gets hit by the pitch. And he's on. They lead off the ninth inning.
First hit by pitch. First time on base. And the greatest comeback ever started with a leadoff hit by pitch.
Only third at bat for Jeff Kobernis. Takes the lead off first. Carson will check him as Span steps in. One ball, no strikes. Another great crowd in hand tonight, more than 30,000. And the 1-0 to Denard Span. Bouncing ball in the gap. Diving grab by Murphy on the first. Got him. Terrific play by the Mets second baseman Daniel Murphy. And there's one out.
Denard Span with another hard hit ball tonight. So 5 plate appearances for Denard Span. He's hit the ball hard 4 times. Last time lined out to David Wright at third. This time Daniel Murphy with some robbery going into the hole. Nice play. Nice play if you're Daniel Murphy and the Mets, and another hang with him if you're Denard Span. Swung the bat well all night long.
He sure did. I was just going to mention that to you. So Chad Tracy will face Robert Carson. Hitting 148 with a homer and 3 RBIs. And the 0-1 pitch to Tracy. And in the dirt. Abad goes 2 innings tonight. Very effective.
Just 21 pitches in those 2 innings.
6 batters.
2 scoreless.
Yeah.
He's tossed 6 1/3 scoreless innings since he's been called up. Just one walk, so getting the job done. Lefties, both lefties out of the pen tonight, getting the job done.
And that's why they called him up, because they knew he could get the job done. Foul down the left field line in the seats. 1 ball and 2 strikes. With 1 away in the 9th inning. Mets 10, Nationals 1. 25 total hits in the ball game tonight. Unfortunately, a season high tying 15 for the Mets. New York is 2 outs away from ending their 4-game losing streak. A high fly to left field. In will come Duda to make the catch. And there's 2 down. Tracy retired. And it's up to Ryan Zimmerman to keep the Nationals' hopes alive. That's good for Davey Johnson, the all-time winningest manager for the New York Mets. Thought, as everybody else did, that maybe last night would get the ball club kind of really juiced up and fired up and over the hump and get something going. But tonight's been a struggle. Zimmerman looking for his 2nd hit tonight. Average at 279 with 28 RBIs. Carson's got some pop in his pitches. 94 in the gun that time. Zimmerman broken back in the gap to right, back with a running grab. Lagares, and the ball game is over. So the Mets have won it. The final is 10-1. Their 4-game losing streak is over. Rubber match coming up tomorrow night.